Hey guys, so today we're going to do multi-step equations. So what that means is it's going to be more than two. It'll probably be about 3 or 4 depending on the problem. Okay, so my first example is I have 3 parentheses 5k plus 2 equals 9. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to draw a line down that equal sign and I'm going to circle that variable. Okay, again, so I can differentiate between the two sides. I can see that the variable's on this side and there's only a 9 on this side. Because sometimes, and you'll see in another example, actually the next one, you'll have a variable on both sides. Now this 3 in front of the parentheses means you're going to distribute, which is just a fancy way of saying is you're going to multiply it to each term. So I'm going to have 3 times 5k plus 3 times 2, and I didn't mean to leave that much space, that's fine, equals 9. And now I'm just going to multiply this out. So 3 times 5 is 15, you're going to tack on that k. 3 times 2 is 6, and this does indeed equal 9, okay, because I'm just bringing this down. Now, this is just like the two-step that we did before. I need to get the variable by itself, and I'm going to move the one that doesn't have the variable first, which happens to be this 6. And I'm going to use the inverse operation, so addition, the opposite of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to minus 6 on both sides. And I cross this out because this goes bye-bye, it goes away. So I'm going to have 15k equals 9 minus 6 is 3. Now, it's okay to have fractions. I know, like, you're looking at this and you're like, nope, it can't be right because I'm going to get a decimal, I'm going to get a fraction, but that's okay. Now, 15 and k are actually being multiplied, so I'm going to draw that little dot in there. And to undo multiplication is division, so I'm going to divide by 15 on both sides. So k is going to equal 3 over 15. Oops, that is not on my paper. Okay, 3 over 15. Now, 3 over 15 is a good number, but that can be simplified. So what that means is you can find a number that 3 and 15 are both divisible by. 3 and 15 are both divisible by 3. So k can equal 3 over 15 or 1 over 5. Okay, I will say we prefer the simplified version, but I will take this to begin with. As the year goes on, it's only going to be simplified, okay? But this is the answer, and you can plug it back in to double check, so you can type it into your calculator. What it would look like when you type it in your calculator is you would have the 3 parentheses 5. Now instead of writing k, I'm going to substitute that 1/5 close parenthesis plus 2, and you type it in exactly like this, okay? I'm not going to go over it for time's sake because these are kind of long problems, but if you have a problem typing it in your calculator, let us know, just email us. Okay, so again, this one equals 1/5 when it's simplified. Example 2. All right, so example 2 is we have negative 2y minus 3 equals 4y minus 15. Before I even dive into this, I'm going to draw a line down my equal sign, and I'm going to circle the ones with the variables. And I'm going to take the sign with them as well, because as you can see, we have a negative here, but a positive here. Now in this equation, I can move any of those pieces that I want. It doesn't matter which one I choose to move, because the order doesn't matter in this aspect. But just note, if you decide to move the negative 3 instead of the 4 or whatever your problem, like the work is going to look different, but you're going to end up with the same answer. Now, I don't like this negative 2, so I'm going to get rid of the negative 2 right away. So I'm going to add 2y to both sides. You have to include that y because the whole term is negative 2y. Now here, negative 2y plus 2y cancels out, goes bye-bye. And that negative 3 comes back down because I did not touch it. So I'm going to have negative 3 equals 4y plus 2y is 6y. And then that minus 15 I still have not touched. Now if I look here, I have a variable here. Okay, and I'm actually going to circle it because I actually moved it and it's a new variable. And then I have a negative 15. And I'm going to get rid of this because I need this y by itself. So I'm going to add 15 to both sides. When you add 15 to both sides on this side, cancels out, goes bye-bye. Negative 3 plus 15 is 12, and that's going to equal 6y. Now this 6 and the y, remember they're being multiplied, So I'm going to put a little dot in between so I remember multiplication. To undo multiplication, I'm going to divide. So I'm going to divide by 6 on both sides. Y equals 2. Because on this case, the 6's will cancel out. If you want to double check it, again, I'm not going to show you how to type it in, but I will show you what you should type in. Is I'm going to have a -2. Instead of writing a y, I'm going to write a 2. I'm going to substitute that 2 because we just said y does equal 2. -3 equals 4. Instead of y, I'm going to have that 2 minus 15, and they should both equal one another, and I will say that does check out, okay? Again, if you need help with the calculator, let one of us know, just email us. All right, we have 2 more examples. Example 3. Now we do have division, don't be scared. It can be scary, but we're gonna break it down piece by piece. So example 3 is we have 7b plus 5b all divided by 2 equals 36. Before I start, draw a line down the equal sign and circle the variable, and I'm going to take the signs with them, and in this case we have 2 variables up top. I don't like the fraction. I want to get rid of the fraction as quickly as I possibly can because it just freaks me out. So to undo division is I'm going to multiply this by 2 over 1, this whole thing. And this is going to be multiplied by 2 over 1. The reason why you multiply by 2 over 1 is these 2's cancel and go bye-bye. Anything over 1 is itself, so I'm left with 7b plus 5b equals, and then I'm going to take this and do 36 times 2. Well, 36 times 2 is 72. Anything over 1 is itself. Okay, and now I'm going to circle these just to draw attention to them. But now, on my left-hand side, all I have is 5b plus 7b, or 7b plus 5b. So I'm just going to add those, because they both have b's. So I'm going to have 12b equals 72. Okay, we've seen this time and time again. The 12 and the b are being multiplied. To undo multiplication is division. I'm going to divide by 12, divide by 12, b equals 6. Okay, and then if you're double checking, again, I'm just going to show you what it should look like. So you're going to have 7. Instead of writing that b, I'm going to substitute a 6. Plus 5. Again, instead of writing b, I'm going to substitute a 6. Divided by 2. Does this equal 36? Now I'm going to give you a hint. It does check out. When you type this in your calculator, make sure this top is in parentheses, okay? Alright, make sure it's in the parentheses because that's really going to help you. Alright, last example. Example 4. Okay, this one's kind of long. 4x minus 2 minus x equals 5 plus 4x minus 7. Alright, before I start doing anything, let's draw the line down the equal sign so we can see both sides of the equation. Circle the 4x. Circle the negative x, and circle the 4x over here. I got a lot of variables. As you can see on this left-hand side, I have 4x and negative x. I'm going to combine those right away just so I can make this equation as small as possible. So 4x minus x gives me 3x minus 2. Okay? Now on this right-hand side, 4x is the only variable there. I'm going to bring that out in front. And I'm doing that because the 5 and the 7 can be combined because they're alike terms. So 5 minus 7 is going to give me -2. Okay, that's just helping me mentally. Now again, we're at this point where we can move anything and you will get the same answers, just your work will look a little different. But before I move anything, I'm going to circle my variables just so I can visually see them because they've changed. The left-hand side had 2, now there's only 1. So if 3x minus 2 equals 4x minus 2, I'm going to move this 3x. Again, you can pick whatever term you want to move, but I want to move the 3x to both sides. Whatever you do to one side, you need to do to the other. You need to keep the equation even. Like a skateboard, your weight has to be even. If it's not, you're going to fall. In this case, your equation is not going to work out. So 3x minus 3x cancels out, goes bye-bye. Bring down that -2. 4x minus 3x gives me x. And then I have a minus 2. X is by itself over here, so I'm going to leave it. But this 2, I'm going to move over. It needs to go out. Needs to go bye-bye. This is being subtracted, so the opposite of subtraction is addition. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. And they're going to cancel out here. But on this side, negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So X is going to equal 0. Okay, and this is my answer. Now, one thing I want to note, if you solve this a different way, let's say you move the 4x over. Actually, you know what? Let's just write this out real quick because that's going to help you guys. So give me a second. So for this one, you had 4x minus 2 minus x equals 5 plus 4x minus 7. Oops. Sorry, guys. I know it's kind of crooked. All right. So if we, do like we usually do, I'm not going to go over all of these steps again because we just went over it. I'm going to get to this point where we simplified. And the reason for this is there's going to be something that I want you guys to look at. That's why I'm doing it. All right. Now, previously we moved the 3x, but let's say I want to move this 4x. I'm going to subtract by 4x on both sides. Again, it's okay if you don't do this. If you did it the previous way, totally fine. You're going to get the same answer. Your work's just going to look a little bit different. Here, 4x minus 4x cancels out. 3x minus 4x gives me negative x minus 2 equals 2. Let me just draw this a little bit longer. Now I have negative x minus 2 equals 2. X is not by itself. This minus 2 needs to go bye-bye. So I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Oops, I forgot the sign there. Okay? Negative 2 plus 2. Gone. Cancels out, goes bye-bye. So I'm left with negative x. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Here's the dilemma. I cannot have a negative x. That cannot exist. What this means is there's an invisible 1 right here. So it's really negative 1x. So I need to divide by a negative 1 on both sides. And this is where it comes into, a lot of people get confused because 0's up top. Can you divide by 0? And the answer is, if it's up top, you can. You're going to get x equals 0. Here's a little trick. If x is up top, it's okay. If x is on the bottom, no. Hard no. Up top, okay. On the bottom, no. Hard no. No. Since x is up on top, it's going to work out. Now I'm going to show you how to type this in your calculator, and you're going to see the difference there as well. So when you type this in your calculator, all right, so you see the work from the previous problem. 0 divided by negative 1. All right, we got 0. That's what we got. That works out. But let's say we're having 0 on the bottom. So remember the negative is located under the 3. Negative 1 divided by 0, you're going to get an error because you cannot divide by 0 on the bottom. Does not exist. You can't take a part of something that doesn't exist. All right? Now, if you want to check this one, you're welcome to do so. I'll show you what you would type in your calculator. Instead of writing x, you're going to substitute a 0. So I'm going to have 4 times 0 minus 2 minus 0 equals, and wherever you substitute it in, put it in parentheses. That's going to help you when you get to higher math. Actually, when we get to functions next unit, that'll help you. But wherever you see an x, you're going to substitute a 0 and you're going to put it in parentheses. When you do this, you're going to see that it does indeed check out, because you're going to get negative 2 equals negative 2, which means it checks out, okay? So with these, break it down piece by piece, locate your variables, and then solve. Remember, your work may look different, but you're going to get the same answer. It depends on what you move first.